All right, and we're here for the final battle, week 6. Uhtred, son of Uhtred, versus HxHismidaf, aka Random Wizard, aka Uhtred, son of Uhtred is Dragon D's Pokeballs. Is that right?
That is correct. The Dragon Master, Dragon D's Pokeballs. He has to overcome the big pink blob, the queen of all fairies.
So, starting off here, we have a little bit different lineup here from Random Wizard in bringing Quagsire. He seems to be having some sort of maybe electric move with hidden power there, because it was a good way to get rid of the sub that Uhtred, son of Uhtred, was sending out there with the Gyarados to maybe start trying to set up. Now, Bounce is a move that can miss, as you can see. It's not 100%. Surprised that Random Wizard left his Quagsire in there. This must be a physical wall, as he has it set up. Sends out another hidden power. The Mill Tank takes it a lot better, being Uhtred, son of Uhtred's special wall.
Yeah, Quagsire's base special attack isn't really cutting it. It's purely counting on that electric typing to be able to counter the Gyarados.
And yeah, we've seen this Mill Tank carry the Heal Bell, and there it throws it off, and Random Wizard is okay to just throw another Toxic out and then swap over to the Machamp. And the Machamp, this is the first time we've seen Random Wizard pull out Machamp, and it did get hit there, and it has the no guard ability, so it just gets rid of the confusion part of the dynamic punch,
Yeah, puts
yeah.
into accuracy. And now we're back at the leads.
Uhtred was able to get a Dragon Dance off there with the Gyarados, and that is going to be a little bit of power and speed there, but Quagsire can take that as it's a ground type Pokemon.
Well, the big thing, Random Wizard was cooking in here beforehand. I believe this Quagsire is unaware. So Uhtred, son of Uhtred, afraid of the water absorb, not going for the electric attacks, bringing his electric Pokemon in to fight the ground now.
Yeah, it makes me wonder. Maybe he has some sort of hidden power or something like that to be able to threaten this ground. But no, he goes over to the Latios, and this is probably the better pick with, yeah, the Levitate and Quagsire having the ground stab. Earthquake is pretty enticing.
Yeah, the big downside is getting that Toxic on with his Cleric dead already. But Booty getting a strong hit on its Pikachu.
Yeah, Latios is pretty strong there, and this Latios must be scarfed or specked because I would expect it to have a life orb in a lot of situations, but the Gyarados comes out and it's going to take this Moonblast and die, and it's tough though because the Latios would have been hit pretty hard by the Moonblast as well, being super effective and being a dragon, it can't do too much. So this is the big matchup here that if Random Wizard decides to pull out the Clefable here and Uhtred goes for the Belly Drum, this could be a big turning point for Uhtred.
Yeah, Azumarill's definitely going to have to get some good going
Ooh,
there.
and he
Oh,
goes
look,
for the
good knockoff on
knockoff
me.
and hits the choice specs off the Mew. The Mew is gonna go down, yeah, down to the priority move on the Aqua Jet, and the Azumarill is still at 100%, so still safe to be able to press Belly Drum or just swap out and pivot onto an Intimidator if Random Wizard sends out Charizard.
I think Random Wizard's going to have to go into the Zapdos here in order to just deal with it.
This is definitely a tough choice because the Machamp isn't a great move here, and the Charizard is going to want to Mega Evolve into a Dragon, and the Machamp is going to be pretty slow, and fighting is not good against Fairy, so we're going to have to see if Uhtred, son of Uhtred, goes for the Play Rough here. He does go for the Play Rough, and yeah, just that stab Play Rough with the huge power is massive.
Wow.
Yeah, Random Wizard normally running his Machamp relatively fast, but that paralysis just ruining all of those plans. Now we're going to see the Zapdos come in.
We might see a knockoff here, but no, he pulls to the Manectric. And the Lightning Rod, yeah, giving the special attack boost. Great swap there from Uhtred. The Manectric is a really nice foil to the Gyarados and inherently also for the Azumarill. And the hidden power there is neutral effectiveness against the Quagsire, so it does have something that it can do against the ground Pokemon. But he pulls it immediately for the Azumarill. And this is that matchup here where Random Wizard may just pull it out again, and Uhtred may just press Belly Drum or just press the stab Play Rough.
I wouldn't be surprised if Random Wizard goes for a Toxic or something to try and put a timer on this, but with that massive boost off the belly drum, it's going to be a hard thing to stall this out. Again, though, with Barney being unaware, the boost will do nothing in this direct matchup.
Yeah, and not only that, but the Toxic's going to force it out here probably on this turn. He may just press Aqua Jet, but I probably would have pressed Aqua Jet on the turn before because it's super effective and stab. But that recover, the unaware, is just really great against Pokemon that like to set up. So now still with the Clefable alive, you want to try to force out this Quagsire as best you can, probably with the Latios, um, because you need the Manectric in order to take on the Clefable.
Yeah, I'm fine with the Salamence in this situation, but the Dragon Dance, Uhtred really not understanding the unaware.
Yeah, and we could see he uses the Crunch there, non-stab move. The Toxic misses, which is pretty huge. He needs to use without understanding the unaware, which is a pretty obscure ability. It's just going to be tough here. But that earthquake was pretty big there, so. Oh, and he just nearly takes it down, and the recover brings him back up over half. If he used a stab move here, he might be able to get a little bit of more than 50%, but the Toxic is going to force out the Salamence pretty soon.
Oh, and he's dancing up to try and increase his power to beat it. That's just not going to work.
Yeah, and Random Wizard knows this and is going to capitalize on this scenario by just continuing to press recover.
Wow, never seen anyone use unaware. That's so good.
Why does he keep pressing Earthquake?
So the unaware makes it where the Quagsire isn't affected by any sort of power-ups or powers down by like Dragon Dance or things like that. So the Dragon Dance that Uhtred, son of Uhtred, was doing is just not going to actually power up its own moves. The Toxic on this Manectric is pretty huge. It can't use any abilities that are, the stab electric moves. So kind of forced into using hidden power here. Maybe just conceding this first match and wanting to go on to the next one.
Yeah,
Fitting
to
character
deal
name.
with a unaware wall, you just kind of have to beat it with raw power. If he had gone with like an outrage out of the Salamence instead of going for any boosts, obviously grass coverage for this matchup in particular. But this being the first time I believe Random Wizard has shown the Quagsire in at least this season.
The Quagsire and the Machamp. And let me see if I can get a message out to Uhtred, son of Uhtred. All right. We also didn't even see Hunter x Hunter's #1 pick of the Charizard. So still packing arguably his best mon. And the Mew was taken out extremely quickly. And there's a Draco Meteor right off the bat just saying, I need to kill this Quagsire immediately. The Toxic hitting the Latios. And I think if you're Random Wizard, you probably just pull the Quagsire right here if you want to keep it alive. Because Uhtred, son of Uhtred, once this thing dead, is probably just leaving this out and pressing Draco Meteor again. You have Clefable, so you have a pretty great swap. But no, he pulls out. And yeah, he does swap to the Clefable, and the Miltank will come in and be able to cleanse that Toxic, but choosing to go for the Thunder Wave first, back-to-back Thunder Waves from the Clerics here. And Clefable, while it does have some of those abilities, like a Heal Bell in the form of Aromatherapy, it does have the ability to pack a punch with Moonblast.
And notably, Random Wizard not bringing his typical Cleric and Meganium, using that slot to bring in either the Machamp or the Quagsire.
Ooh, and those Stealth Rocks there are a huge gain there for Random Wizard, allowing him to position himself if Salamence or Gyarados comes out to do a pretty nice chunk right off the bat. Stab Body Slam doing a pretty nice chunk of Clefable's HP, but Clefable has soft boiled, so if it gets another. Oh my god, 3 paralysis procs in a row! That is just really bad luck, and he's got to just pull out the Clefable here. Yeah, he pulls it out and goes over to the Zapdos. A pretty nice tank here. A crit on the body slam, but the Zapdos does have Roost, so you feel pretty comfortable sitting in here against this Miltank.
Yeah, the crit only hitting for 24%. A regular hit's just not going to do much to it. Going into the Manectric and sucking up the Thunderbolt.
Yeah, showing again that Uhtred understands that Lightning Rod is a great way to swap over and get a little bit of power whenever Random Wizard goes over to the Zapdos.
And that hidden power is hidden power ice. Let's see if he goes for it to hit the Zapdos. He does, and it takes out Barney on the switch in.
Yeah, and here comes Charizard, and this is where you could see a very quick Volt Switch into a matchup that's a lot better for Uhtred. And it depends what Random Wizard presses with the Charizard, because if he presses something like Stone Edge or Earthquake, then the Azumarill swap won't be as good as Uhtred will hope. There's the Mega Evolution. He does press the Volt Switch, so he will be able to swap out here real quick. If he goes to the Azumarill and Random Wizard had pressed Outrage or Dragon Claw, the Azumarill will be immune. He chooses to go to the Miltank.
Yep, trusting the thick fat here, taking the Flare Blitz pretty well.
Yeah, and the Rocky Helmet hit as well, pushing that Charizard down, but the Milk Drink taking it back up and the Roost healing the Charizard. He brought Dragon Dance as well. The Thunder Wave hitting the Charizard pretty big there, because Body Slam will now be able to hit every turn. Flare Blitz plus the Rocky Helm, and if a Paralysis proc comes in at a bad time here, the Roost will be stopped, and Uhtred can maybe kill it with some sort of body slam here.
And was the mill tank faster? Yeah, the mill tank is faster with it being paralyzed, but both of them playing it very safe, both going for the heals.
Yeah, I really don't like this scenario here pressing Flare Blitz. You might want to go with some more Dragon Dances or maybe press the Dragon move.
I think we're just going to see a swap on it. Yep. We'll see if we get a paralysis proc. We do not.
So Uhtred needs to pull Miltank here. He won't be faster than the Machamp. Um, and the fighting moves are not very good against fairies, also not good against flying Pokemon, so we could see swapping to Azumarill or maybe the Salamence. But then again, the Miltank is your Rocky Helmet user. It is probably physically defensive. And yeah, he just leaves it in. And oh, the confusion proc huge there. That's gonna probably force Uhtred to pull Miltank regardless, or just leave him in and get a fresh swap.
If the Salamence had Intimidate, I think it would have been a great swap in for it. But with the rocks out, switching the mill tank out now, it's kind of dead on the next switch in. So you're either taking your clean swap now and letting it die, getting your little bit of Rocky Helmet chip, or you're just saving that clean swap in for later, but then something's going to have to take a dynamic punch, and that never sounds fun.
Sorry.
Yeah, I think you just go ahead and let the Miltank die and send the Latios in. Oh, so he decides to go to the Azumarill because the dynamic punch won't hit very hard, but the confusion proc still happens. And that's going to be pretty tough if you're the Azumarill because you're already a physically attack. Oh, geez. The play rough goes through the confusion, and the Mew is pretty fast here with the 100 stat base on each of your base stats. So the Azumarill will have to press Aqua Jet if it wants to guarantee the outspeed.
What does confusion do?
He has a 25% chance to hit himself. It will be based off of his own attack stat.
And the 20%, either 20 or
Wow.
25% chance to poison on the Sludge Bomb. The Miltank is pretty low HP as well, so I think you just have to go ahead and press the Draco Meteor here. And I don't think you have a good situation. Oh, and he has Defog on the Latios. Quite a change, but the Sludge Bomb going ahead and finishing it off instead of Random Wizard swapping to the Clefable.
And Uhtred has a lot of offense that it could go into from here. The big question and the scary thing about the Mew is what is its move pool? What can it threaten?
You did see on the previous game when you press knockoff that it had choice specs. So you have a pretty good estimation that it's a special sweeper. And I like the pick here from Uhtred to just go ahead and jump in and press Volt Switch.
Even if he just goes for Thunderbolt to kind of guarantee the kill more with the higher raw power.
You need to get your Miltank back out though in some way or shape or form. So, oh, and he pressed Hidden Power, maybe again thinking that Random Wizard was going to swap. But he didn't. He's leaving this Mew in because of the low HP, and because of the choice specs, we know that it's probably not running something like soft boiled, so he wants to just leave it in. So Uhtred choosing what he wants to send in now, it will allow Random Wizard a choice of what he will send in after the volt switch is applied.
Yeah, I would have liked to put that Manetric in. This does reset its Intimidate in a sense, but it's outrunning everything else on that team. I'm trying to leave that thing in and just get my damage out of it before it goes down.
Yeah, and the Gyarados is tough because you don't get the Intimidate of the Gyarados. And yeah, the Thunder Punch there is just huge from the Machamp. That tells me that this Machamp is potentially scarfed. That was a pretty fast Machamp there, so makes me wonder if this Machamp is carrying a choice scarf.
Random
Oh
Wizard
yeah,
has been known to scarf it.
this Machamp is scarfed with full speed investment.
Yeah.
252 plus nature.
Yeah. Really tough there. And here comes the Manectric back out. I like that, bringing it back out there. Probably still faster than the Machamp here, even with the scarf. So maybe this Manectric can go ahead and press Thunderbolt. You need big damage here. He goes for the hidden power again, and you can see that hidden power is just not strong unless it is super effective. So like, again, pressing it, and it didn't matter a whole lot unless he made a swap. And here comes Machamp back out. Manectric has the ability to kill it, and there's the Thunderbolt.
Oh,
See,
there
the
we go.
stab attack is strong. Manectric being able to do that there. The Charizard is still paralyzed. The electric move is not going to be as effective against the Charizard because of the dragon typing.
And that Volt Switch isn't going to do as much chip because there's no buff on Manetric this time.
It's really that dragon typing from the Charizard. And you probably see a Volt Switch, though, here regardless, unless Uhtred is just saying, I'm going to go ahead and use Thunderbolt and just try to bring as much damage as I can into this Charizard. But with Hidden Power Ice, the fire typing will, turn that Hidden Power Ice into a neutral attack. So even that isn't good.
Yeah, I think this is a clean Volt switch into the mill tank. You let the mill tank die. It gets a little bit more chip in the Rocky Helm. Then you can throw the Manetric back out, getting an Intimidate off on the Charizard, and then Volt switching again potentially to keep repeating that process and just break it down. Assuming you have a solid plan.
Ooh.
And I actually
for this
like this
after.
choice. I like this choice because the Charizard is paralyzed, so you will get a play rough into this Charizard here. This could be good. This is much faster because the Charizard does have Roost. So if you went for the Miltank, yeah, that forces the Charizard out into the Zapdos. There's the play rough, and it crits huge damage on the Zapdos. But I think if you're Uhtred, son of Uhtred, you swap again back to the Manectric. Well, yeah, he goes back to the Manectric. We may see a Roost here from the Zapdos. Goes for the Heat Wave, and that does take down the Manectric. Probably you want that clean swap into the Salamence, but he chooses to go for the Azumarill, and the Aqua Jet will not take down the physical wall in Zapdos. The
Oh my
Thunderbolt
god.
takes it down. You gotta go here with the Salamence. That's probably your best bet. And you know you're
Zapdos
faster
strong.
with the Salamence. I think that's really your only choice.
Yeah, the Salamence with an outrage cleanly sweeps the rest of the team with the Charizard being paralyzed.
Yeah, here comes the Salamence. You hope that he goes for that instead of using one of the non-stab moves. We know he has Dragon Dance, so hope he doesn't press that as well. He does press Outrage. It does the 31%. Here comes Charizard, the Moxie proc, and this Outrage is going to kill this Charizard right here.
Oh baby, we got it
Going to
back.
game
Wow.
3.
Let's not forget
That was a good
the
game.
implications this game has. If Golden is to win this week, puts a lot of pressure on both of them to again win next week to battle for that coveted potentially third and fourth place position heading into the playoffs.
And I think the big thing for this one is how they start. Random Wizard will probably not start with the Quagsire, knowing that he needs to keep it safe, and goes with the Mew into the Miltank.
And the Miltank is a pretty great choice here. We hadn't seen Miltank carry Stealth Rock, so this Mew, again, had choice specs last time we saw it. We could see Random Wizard just immediately swap to the Machamp, or just start pressing Psychic, or Psyshock. Psychic in this case.
Wow.
That stab move with the choice specs is big damage. That Milk Drink is not enough to outdo the 60% Psychic. Now Random Wizard is locked into Psychic, so he will be pressing that again, regardless. And if Uhtred is on top of the fact that this Mew is spec'd, he could potentially swap to another Pokemon, but this Mew's pretty dangerous here.
Yeah, I don't know who I would want to swap into to take that Psychic.
Well, didn't Latios take it? Yeah.
Yeah,
That's pretty good.
So there's the Latios. Latios is typically, not going to take attacks that well, but the resistance of being psychic typing is pretty big there. It forces the Clefable out. The Surf is a pretty interesting choice. I mean, he knows that the Draco Meteor is not very safe with Clefable on the other side, so I think we're going to see him pull it. Yeah, and he pulls him out and goes to the Azumarill, the Moonblast hitting it, and Azumarill doesn't have a great move against this Clefable.
That hurt.
You got to go back to the Milk Drink, or the Miltank here, and just kind of try to get a little bit of momentum back by getting some of these debuffs off your Mon.
Yeah, it's scary getting that Miltank out with it already being so low. He's got to find a clean opening for it. It's Pikachu not enjoying that attack, but going with the Soft Boil to heal back up, and then some.
Yeah, but your Miltank is at around 44%. That was probably, you had a few options there to get to it. The Manectric pressing Hidden Power a little too much in the previous matches. And the Quagsire is back on the other side, and there it is. He swaps into Mega Manectric, and let's see what he presses. He presses the Volt Switch. He will not be able to swap because the immunity stops the attack altogether.
Ooh. Ground Pokemon OP.
Yeah, I think that was a pretty clear play. He kind of needed to go for the Volt Switch to keep the momentum. Good on Random Wizard for reading that and going into his ground.
We'll see a Defog. Yeah, there's the Defog getting rid of the rocks. But Clefable is the rocker on the side of Random Wizard, so we could just see another set of rocks here because Uhtred's going to have to pull the Latios immediately. Yep. And there's a Moonblast into the Miltank.
Can he heal Bell now? Or should he
So notably, the Fable had been hit with a knockoff before knocking off its life orb, which could have done that extra 8%. And yeah, I agree with going for the Milk Drink there. Just get some health up. You can heal Bell after.
Yeah, and I don't like this swap for Random Wizard because he's going to see very quickly that Toxic's going to do nothing. Because there's the Heal Bell cleansing the Toxic. Look at that, cleansing the other Toxic and cleansing the Paralysis. So that Earthquake not doing much, and you can see Uhtred's just fine leaving in the Miltank against this thing, because he'll just sit there and Milk Drink or Heal Bell regardless of what Quagsire does.
Yeah, and Body Slam being such a great move, getting the Paralyze around the electric immunity.
Yeah,
and the Toxic missing there, the Body
Slam Paralyze let you bypass the electric. Oh, wow.
Because of the ground.
It's not
immunity.
An electric move,
because of the ground immunity.
Right, that's crazy.
To electric attacks, yeah.
I've never
the
seen
same
that.
would be true for the move Glare.
If you're Uhtred, I think you want to probably get your mill tank out here and try to start positioning your next Pokemon. You've had some good paralysis procs over and over. I'd like to wonder that if you had swapped to a different Pokemon, maybe you could have gotten a Dragon Dance off or something.
Or even just getting some big hits onto the Quagsire to try and break it. It is now softened up with Hulk coming out, the natural enemy of Miltanks, as we know.
Yeah,
I'd be
no,
fine with seeing a Gyarados here. Use the flying typing to resist and get the Intimidate off to kind of cut the damage a bit.
we saw that on the previous game though, and this Hulk was packing Thunder Punch and was ready for the Gyarados.
Yeah, but with it being scarfed, is it going to risk doing that into the Miltank?
Well,
It's a 50-50 call, ain't it?
yeah, it's a tough call, but you do have double Intimidator on the side of Uhtred, and if you press the Thunder Punch, Uhtred could next level into the Manectric, and he does go into the Manectric with the Intimidate, but he had pressed Dynamic Punch with the confusion there, but I really like the choice into Manectric. A little bit more risky, but I like it. And immediately presses Volt Switch, and Random Wizard was ready with the Quagsire. Back to this wall battle here. Miltank's gonna go ahead and get a milk drink off.
Yeah, I would have liked to have seen a body slam to try and push some chip in, potentially paralyzing the Hulk.
And there's the
Here's the
Gyarados.
Gyarados.
He had pressed Dynamic Punch, so he is scarfed into that. But again, the confusion kind of insulates you a little bit on pressing Dynamic Punch with the Choice Scarf. And
Snarf, snarf, snarf.
oh my god.
And yeah,
Oh.
hurting himself with the confusion. Chelsea, we're doing something. And the Thunderbolt crushing the Gyarados.
Mew is choice spec though, so he is locked into this Thunderbolt. If you're Uhtred and you recalled that he had that on there, he'll be able to throw out the Manectric here and force out this Mew.
Going into Az, maybe just planning on spreading more paralysis through the team. Quagsire coming in, just predicting that.
Yeah, I don't know. Uhtred is in a little bit of trouble here. Don't really have your Gyarados at all. It's gone already. Didn't get anything out of it. And that Toxic, you press Thunder Wave twice in a row onto a ground Pokemon, it's just going to be tough.
He keeps Thunder Waving to try and call the predict, but Random Wizard smartly forcing the milk drink before he goes into the Hulk to keep him safe.
And the Dynamic Punch will most likely... Oh, and he stays alive. The confusion, again, will insulate a little bit there on the swap. Draco Meteor into a Clefable switch here could pretty much spell the end for Latios.
I think you got to go with the Psychic Attack to try and break the Hulk.
And he goes with the Clefable, and he goes to the Psyshock. Soft Boiled healing the Clefable, allowing for a free swap, but Quagsire's still sitting there at 100%, and Uhtred presses Thunder Wave again.
I like the idea of trying to spread the paralysis through the team, but you've done it a little bit too much, too often right now. Random Wizard, he's kind of in on it at this point.
And he presses it for a fourth time. The Toxic... Yeah, and the Heal Bell takes care of the Toxic. Here comes another Toxic. The Milk Drink should be coming here. He presses the Thunder Wave. Finally got him on a swap, because the Machamp will be slower now, and you can freely press the Milk Drink. But I think it's just really dangerous here to leave in against the Machamp, because if yet, and there it is, the Dynamic Punch taking down the Miltank, and now Random Wizard can basically send out his special attackers and not have to worry about it. Here comes Clefable. Gonna take the Psyshock again. Took it okay the first time. It's not confused anymore. This Clefable's not faster than Latios, so it could just die right here. And the Psyshock able to take it down. Because you are not using Life Orb, your Latios is able to survive with 3% HP.
Yeah, this thing is scarfed, so he was really going to need some production out of it. He's got to get the damage through here.
Yeah, and Random Wizard has lost his rocker. So we'll see what the Mew presses, because Mew is also using a choice item. Here comes Salamence, and the huge selection by Random Wizard pressing Ice Beam with a 4 times effective against Salamence. Incredible selection. The Azumarill will wall the Mew here.
That was huge.
If you're Random Wizard, though, you have 5 Pokemon to Uhtred's 3. You might just want to just continue to press Ice Beam here and just let the Mew go down, because the Azumarill, without the ability to press Belly Drum, is not going to be able to kill your whole team.
Well, the Azumarill does still have its berry to get some healing going.
Looks like Random Wizard wants to pull him, and yeah, he chooses to pull to the Quagsire. The knockoff getting rid of the Rocky Helmet, the Citrus Berry proccing up to 65%. You're kind of out of Belly Drum range, and we saw this in a previous game where the Quagsire doesn't care about things like Belly Drum. The stab play rough into the Quagsire is really big there. He's slower. If he presses play rough again, you might be able to take out the Quagsire. The Toxic... Oh, and yeah, they're going to the Zapdos. Let's see what he presses. He presses play rough again, and the leftovers are going to heal up the Zapdos a bit. You have to pull your Azumarill here, but we saw this swap on a previous game where Random Wizard did predict the swap and press Heat Wave.
Yeah, and with the team roughed up, it's hard to make that call. I mean, it could be that you just have to try and push the damage here and then trust your Latios to really get some big hits in.
And exactly that, the Heat Wave doing a big chunk to Manectric. Manectric having no way to heal itself. Hidden Power Ice is not good enough to deal enough damage there, even though it's super effective. And just shows you it's not that great of a move. So Zapdos comes out here, in the late part of the game, and is probably just going to be able to close it out as a body, because now Draco Meteor isn't going to allow Latios to deal as much damage anymore.
Yeah, Latios is really the win con. With its speed, good call swapping it out to go ahead and reset that attack.
That's it.
He's got to really crush it here with some big psychics.
And yeah, the Psyshock is pretty much the only move you can press, because Draco Meteor will reduce it, but Psyshock probably won't be able to one-shot this Zard. Yeah, there's only 41% damage. You get a super effective Outrage, and Random Wizard, aka HxHismidaf, takes the game.
That was
2-1.
That was a good match.